Hey guys, it's Max Convexity. How's everyone doing this morning? Appreciate y'all for being here. Let's check out these Defiance funds and we'll see what's happening this early point in the day. All right, here's SPX. This is what JEPY trades. See the market open with a huge gap up and went a little higher and is now turned around and is back kind of in the middle of the range. Similar story with NASDAQ. Now, Russell, on the other hand, is on fire. Jerome Powell speaking right now in Jackson Hole. And it looks like I messed up and forgot to do the profit box for these guys. I could have sworn I did it. Of course. On IWMY, these guys sold the 2160 strike for a little over 23 bucks. So 2136 to 2160. So we go down to 2136. Then the first part of the profit box is the extrinsic. So I go from the break even and I pull it up to the price where they sold the option at, which was yesterday's close. But in any event, so then I colored that yellow. That's the extrinsic premium. Then I go to the strike price, which is max profit, right? That's 2160. And then I draw a straight line across from the, to where it opens. And I call this part, and this part's green because green is like money, and that's extrinsic. That's how far the option was in the money, because you can see it was right here when they wrote the option and they wrote the 2160 strike. So the distance right there, that's the in the money amount, and that's the amount they stand to make in NAV appreciation, not in dividends. Dividends are based on volatility, but that's the amount they stand to make right there. The amount of the green is the NAV appreciation they're going for every day. Now, they don't realize it every day. To realize it, they have to close above it. They realize the yellow part. The yellow part is extrinsic premium, and the extrinsic premium shrinks to zero by the end of every day. Time decay always decays to zero, but the green part is intrinsic. All right, those are the two parts of option premium. But in any event, they just need to basically stay over the top line to make a profit. So, or to have max profit. All right, so now let's look at USO. These guys are in a little better shape than yesterday. Yeah, or what was that? Yes, Tuesday or Wednesday night, the market sold off. They had the 78 put written and they had the 77 put written, and they had to pay to cash settle them. So they were in the money. So that didn't work out great. Then they rolled down and they wrote a 76 strike put. And so they need the price. They wrote it for $1.71. So they need the price to go from where it was to at least to 76, or at least within $1.71 of 76. So that's why the bottom line is right there. In any event, the market rallied for USO, and they're right in the middle of the profit. They have till tomorrow. These options expire. These options expire tomorrow. Or no, these options. I'm sorry, what I'm talking about. These options expire today, of course. All right. So let's check Tesla. AMD, everything kind of opened up and then pulled back. Coinbase, same thing, opened up and pulled back. Coinbase and NVIDIA both have inverse funds, and I put the profit boxes on here. I'm going to start tracking those funds as well. They're both well out of the money. Neither of them have anything to worry about. And then starting next week, I'm also going to track the bullish funds as well again. All right, so now let's go to the buffer report. So here's the standard old buffer. All right, so you can see, boy, I like to see that SPY-T outperforming the index. Look at that. ZIVB doing well, outperforming the index. KQQQ having a great day. QDTE killing it. YMAX killing it. YMAG killing it. YBTC, everything looks great right now. And I bet you maybe the ones that don't look great, I bet you it's a bad quote or something. There's no way that one's down. Oh, wait, it's inverse, of course. Yeah, it's doing its job. So the market's up 0.7 to 8. So this should be down 0.78, and it's down a little bit more. That's the new inverse Qs fund. All right. And then we have iSpy actually down a little bit. I wouldn't think that's anything to worry about. All right, so then let's look at the buffer report this way. This just shows some of my favorite funds just compared with each other. And this shows the cumulative change from the end of last month. So like the yellow one is ZIVB, and you can see at one point they were down 22% in the pullback. But then you could see the next day they were down 17, the next day they were down. And this is total return. And you can kind of look and you can see they worked themselves out of the hole, but then they kind of got themselves back into it. And now they're down. They were down 4.9, then 3.1. Now they're down 3.1 as of right now. XDTE, having a great month, up 3.5 points. iSpy having a great month. JPY having a great month. They're all up more than a point. But you can kind of see how their profit has evolved over the month. XDTE started killing it when the market came back. Well, so what do we know about XDTE? It's a super bullish fund because they're uncapped at nighttime. So if there's gaps overnight or, in morning, I guess the gap shows up in the morning. But like this morning, we came in and the market was way higher than it closed. A fund like XDTE monetizes that. So that's exciting, and they're having a great month. Now, in a bearish month where there's a bunch of gaps down at nighttime, they will do worse than these other funds. But they're a good fund, and they're doing great right now. So Tesla and crash. The pairs trade is down about 8.2%. Its yield at 20%. Just the NAV of the two ETFs by themselves are down about 29%, but it's yielded about 20%. So your actual total return's down about 8%. This is kind of a different view of the same chart. This is a chart of a view of KQQQ against FEPI, NASDAQ, YMAX, and YMAG. KQQQ is ahead, and it was the only one that had its head above water for the month. And this actually, for the month, this is since inception. I take that back when I said for the month. This would be back to July 23rd, which was since inception. Anyway, I'm going to keep tracking this, and we're going to see how KQQQ does against kind of the other safer type funds with tons of upside, like YMAX, YMAG. I thought that'd be a good comparison, as well as FEPI. Really, JEPQ is probably the best comparison for this fund now that I think about it. And JEPQ is on here. For some reason, it wasn't on that chart. I don't understand why. But, oh, well, I have that to work on tonight. Okay, we're going to have a volatility report right now. So to look at volatility, we're going to look at VIVX. the VIX of VIX. Most people talk about the VIX, but we're going to talk about the VIX of VIX. Okay. Generally, when the VIX of VIX is out of its Bollinger Bands and going up, and especially when it's also above the 200-day moving average, which is the red line, that's bearish for the market. When you have a bull market and volatility, it means it's a bull market in hedging, so it's a bear market in stock indexes generally. So this is how people use the price of options or the price of volatility to trade stocks. You can use it as a contrary indicator. Here's kind of an example of it. So let's kind of go back and look kind of what's happened. So back here on July 10th, this VIX got over the 200-day moving average outside of the Bollinger Bands on the bullish side and started moving up. Then the next day it was back underneath it, but within a few days later it was above the 200-day, and it stayed above the 200-day all the way for the rest of July. And it's even going up right here into July 18th. Well, guess what's happening in the market? The market starts. That's right about when the market, this line down here is the market. The market starts selling off. It doesn't ever get back under the 200-day until down around here. So that was a pretty nice early warning of the market selling off. Then it got under the 200-day for a little bit, and the market recovered. But then right here on August 1st, it got above. And yeah, the market had already sold off a little bit, but there was still plenty of time to buy puts, if you were trying to time the market, because then the market gave you another warning the next morning when it is even higher. And then the next morning, in any event, then we got underneath the Bollinger Bands and underneath the 200-day moving average right around Friday the 9th. And that would have been a great time to get long, right? I mean, what is going on down here? Friday the 9th, market's around 5,300 anyway. So now the market's run all the way up here. And now we're starting to give warning signs again. We gave a little warning signs yesterday. And then sure enough, yesterday afternoon, we sold off. Then this morning we gapped up, and right now we're just kind of grinding. So we'll see what happens. Let's look. Let's kind of zoom in on the market and see what's going on right here. You can also, of course, use the Bollinger Bands and the 200-day moving average just on the SPX itself, but everyone's looking at that. I'm trying to look at the VIX because that's the volatility of the volatility index. So that indicates when people are buying calls and puts, but when people are getting long volatility, it's because they think the market's going to shit, or it's because you're trying to hedge a short volatility position. And that's the way you hedge short volatility positions, is by getting long volatility. In any event, it's interesting to look at. I'm going to have the buffer report, or not the buffer report. This could be the volatility report, and I'm going to start having it every morning. But right now, it looks like we're right. It's inconclusive right now. It doesn't predict what it's going to do. It just shows you what it has done. You could see down here, we went into a bullish phase for a few weeks, and now we're starting to get some warning signals up ahead. So we shall see. Like I say, it doesn't predict what's going to happen. And right now we're right about at the average. We're at the 200-day average. Something like this tries to just find a trend and exploit it. There'll be more on it tomorrow. I'll explain it better tomorrow. But this is one of my favorite ways to use options, is to use option prices to try to help predict the market, going up or going down, or maybe even changing directions a little bit ahead of time is the whole idea. And I'd say we're having a few early warning signals right now. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, have a good day.